Righty, mate. Big boy pants on. Ready to go?
Yeah, first day of the championships, mate. This is when the cream rises to the top.
I hope so.
Mate, I hope so.
Yeah, I had to look through the archives and you've had one Group 1 winner since the beginning of the autumn.
Mate, I had a look at that too. And, yeah, unbelievable. I think I was leading the comp at one stage.
You were. It was you and me, Quinella, the entire way.
Yeah.
And then you've left me.
Oh, I fly fresh.
Yeah.
But as my prep goes on, it's shocking. But, look, there's 4 this week. So, mathematics says, rocket science says, brain surgery says,
Yes.
I'm due.
Hey, you're mathematically a chance still. So, footy terms, we've got about a quarter to play.
I'm just worried now about beating our mate Mitch Swepson. Because of the rate I'm going, he could overtake me.
He's picked up a couple. So, yeah, it could be worse. But, look, mate, there's a ton of content to get through. Polos, kick it off but I think we'll have a few more listeners this week. Hopefully a few new listeners. So, can you please just explain our polo system?
Yeah, sure. So we're called the Polo Punt Club because we think that there's some polos that are just born better than others, real polo supremacists. And it just stemmed from a while back, a few of us wearing polos on the same day, I think, at having a punt on a Saturday. So, yeah, some polos are better than others. The Navy, we think, is the best polo you can get. We think white and black are pretty good polos, stock standard, and the worst polo is the purple polo. Every Derby day, we get together as a punt club, and whoever has the worst day on the punt gets gifted the purple polo. It's an actual physical polo. Get our initials embroidered on it and the year in which we win it.
I've won it.
You won it.
Unfortunately.
I'm the most recent recipient.
You had a stinker.
An absolute stinker. It feels like a common theme on this podcast, doesn't it? Oh,
Lucky
fancy
you're funny,
that.
mate. Lucky you're funny.
Oh, lucky I look good.
Yeah.
So, yeah, for each week we hand out polos based on tiers of polos, right? For someone who's done well, we'll give them a Navy, so on and so forth. So, for this week, the Navy polo, I'm going to give it to Zach Bailey for his after the siren kick against Collingwood. Redemption. He had the chance 7 days earlier to do it to Geelong, where there was a blatant holding.
Well, he wasn't given the chance.
Oh, he wasn't given the chance. He should have had the chance.
Yeah.
So the footy gods obviously took note and said, I tell you what, son, we'll give you one after the siren this week.
Yeah.
Our man,
45 out.
Oh, our man Flavour hit him on the chest. Mate, Flavour could have gone from there. Flavour could have just absolutely sniped it from there. But
Daniel Rich flavour.
Daniel Rich flavour.
One of the great kicks in the game. He's elite. Look, I'm obviously clearly by the scarf in the background and the hat in the background and all the other Lions stuff, I'm a huge fan. And so are you. I've been part of the game. I've been watching the game since I'm a kid. You probably only watched it since we moved in together.
Yeah, probably the last 5 years really got into it.
Yeah, but we ride the bumps just as hard. And I was texting you after the game because I can't watch it at the moment.
Yeah, because Channel 7, for whatever reason, doesn't work in this prison. I can't even get free-to-air TV.
Oh. So I was editing the podcast when it was going on. I was checking it every now and then and like looking at the scores. I'm like, oh, they're coming back. And it was full time and Collingwood were in front. I was like, shit. And you're like, mate, how good's that? And I was like, oh, did they win? Yeah. Zachy Bailey, well done.
Look, really big kick because they could have been 0-3 with the game against the flying Western Bulldogs this weekend. So huge kick, redemption, great to see, well-deserved Navy polo. White polo this week, cricket whites. I'm going to give it to the Queensland Bulls.
Yes, very well deserved.
They've secured a home final in the Sheffield Shield against New South Wales, which I think begins next Thursday, so in a week's time, with a special shout-out to our good mate, Mitch Swepson. Sweppo, 29 wickets in 8 innings this Sheffield Shield season at a touch over 22.
Elite.
Absolutely elite. what a return from injury.
Yeah.
He was spinning him sideways.
Mate. On your bike, Hughesy.
Yeah, laters.
Yeah. No, he had a great return. And I was a bit nervous for him because changing his action, like his delivery and his neck, I was like, oh, that's a hard thing to do. But he just went straight back into his business.
Bang.
That's what elite athletes do, mate.
That's what elite athletes
we
do.
wouldn't know that.
Of course not.
We're elite punters.
Yeah. Whoa.
I mean, like, as in, like,
Whoa.
average punters. We're elite at being average.
Yeah.
Let me clear that up.
Yeah. Look, great return, Swep, and I think if they can win the final, that's a deserved Navy polo. So that's a bit of premonition.
Beauty.
And on to the purple polo. We've spoken about this a fair bit on the podcast recently. A lot of purple polos have been designated to this particular instance, but mate, another retirement due to injury for the Queen, Arcadia.
Yes. How much redemption is there for the Melbourne vets, though? Like, I was thinking about that. It's like, well, they said her gait was slightly off. The trainers said she's fine. A week later, there's an abscess in her foot. And then 2 weeks after that, she has, a tendon injury. They just knew.
They knew something wasn't right with her. Such a shame, mate, especially if you compound that with Russian Camelot being retired recently due to injury, a few other horses, but two genuine superstars, I think, up-and-coming superstars. Could have been the two best horses in the country in 18 months' time. You know what I mean? So,
they definitely were.
Yeah.
You look at that, and rung below that, you have Fierce Impact, who just wanted to get to the breeding barn. Then you just had, like, a rung below that, you have Farnan, Anders, North Pacific, off the top of my head. They've all gone to the breeding barn. It's like, geez. Lucky the sales are just generating so much money.
Oh, mate, crazy.
They're absolutely pumping through the revenue there.
Yeah.
It's awesome.
Yeah, heaps of money. A lot of horses in the English sales, the Easter sales going for, 1.5, 2 mil, easy.
Yeah, well, there was
Crazy
one for
money.
2.5 during the week.
Yeah.
In Sydney.
Was that a So You Think?
No, it was...
I'm Invincible?
I can't remember.
Yeah.
Oh, well, yeah. Can't remember who it was by, but yeah, tons of coin, tons.
Yeah, well, that's it, mate. That's the polos for the championships week.
Lovely. Well, 4 Group 1s to get stuck into, and I reckon for the TJ and the Doncaster, I reckon we go through runner by runner and just go top 3 or top 4 chance, can win, got none. But
Sounds good.
But until we get there, we have the size to get through. 2-year-olds, 1,400 metres, set weights. Piero's won this. Samantha Miss has won this. Octagonal. And I didn't say who won it last year, but that's okay.
King's Legacy won it last year, I believe.
Yes, he did. Thank you for reminding me. So the favourites have had a really bad record in this race, with only 3 favourites saluting since 2006. So they've got a pretty bad strike rate there. And only one winner since 1990 has finished worse than 4th in their lead-up. So, but as 2-year-olds, I think, you want a 2-year-old that's in pretty decent form anyway. So there's a logical starting point here in Animo. $2.15 favourite. Crikey. Is he just too good for them?
Mate, based on his finish in the Golden Slipper, you'd have to probably say so.
And the Blue Diamond.
Hasn't run a bad race yet. I think the only query with him is, has he ran too many grand finals? That's probably the only query, because based on his finish last start, I think the 1,400 metres is a big tick. I think drawing that barrier, he can sit just off the speed, which is set by Lightsaber and 4 moves ahead. Yeah, I think he's going to take a power beating in this race. And funny you just mentioned the favourites having a poor record in this race. I don't know in this instance. My girl 4 moves ahead. She, I think, will be a good miler once she gets a bit older. She's got the Champagne Stakes coming up, obviously, where I think she's about $15 or something like that in futures. I think she'll run a good race and she'll be on speed. She'll have every chance from that barrier. Johnny Sargent, the trainer, said she was probably about half a race behind the rest of the field in the slipper.
That is so frustrating to know that after the race.
Oh, yeah, it is. I read that and I was just like, well, if I knew that, I wouldn't have backed it.
Like, I heard that as well. I was like, well, sorry, mate, but where's the transparency before the race? Give the punters a chance.
Yeah, 100%. She could run a really good race here, mate. She could just kick on too strong and maybe Animo just doesn't get there in time. So I think they're the two key chances for mine. Lightsaber's an interesting horse. I think he's the only horse in the field who's run 1,400 metres before.
Won twice, and he's my on-top selection. He's the one I found. I just can't get into Animo at $2.15, getting way back in the field. I think he's going to be a Cascadian type where he just always finds bad luck, and I think in a small field does suit him. I think he's drawn pretty well as well. I think 4 moves ahead she's the proven one on about a soft 6 would I've done the form for. So I think they're the 3 main chances, but Lightsaber, gee whiz, he beat Safe last start.
And he was awesome.
Came out and absolutely blitzed him. The Melbourne form has consistently held up in Sydney through the Blue Diamond form with Animo and Ingratiating and Arcaded winning as well in the lead-ups to the Slipper. I just think he's a cracking bet at $9.50. Should sit on speed. He's proven at the 1,400 metres. I think wet track is a clear query, but Peter Moody can get back into the Group 1 winning stable here with Lightsaber.
Yeah, mate, I think they're the top 3 horses. I think Lightsaber is the real danger in this race.
X factor.
The X factor has to be the soft track was a query for mine. And from memory, I could be completely wrong. I think the Sydney trained horses tend to have a better record in this particular race. What does that mean in terms of this particular edition? Probably not much. Look, I think Animo is going to be my on-top selection. I am tossing up between him and my girl 4 moves ahead. I think Animo, yes, he gets back and has a Cascadian-esque type finish to his race. He drew the car park in the Slipper, so had to do a lot to come second. Draws a lot better here, and I think he might be ridden a bit more positively, especially with J-Mac on the back. He'll get him into a good position. I think he'll get every chance. So going to have Animo on top. 4 moves ahead running second and Lightsaber running into third.
Yeah, fair enough, mate. I've got, Lightsaber in running first, 4 moves ahead running second, and Animo into third. I'm also a bit, I don't know, he's been up for a long time. He's been up for about 10 weeks, Animo. That's a long time for a 2-year-old.
Yeah, and that was a query for mine as well, as I was talking about. He's ran a few grand finals already, so he'd have to be a good horse to have another peak-like performance. So that's my query and why I might change to 4 moves. Yeah,
no, fair enough. Australian Derby, 2,400 metres for 3-year-old set weights. Old boy Farlap's won this before.
Of course he has.
Octagonal again. He's just had a field day. Tulloch, Kingston Town as well. Key lead-ups with Quick Thinker winning this last year. Key lead-ups, so the Rosehill Guineas, which Moanga took out. He's not heading here, but Skylab and Montefilia. The Tulloch, which has produced the last 4 or 5 winners. The Tulloch. Yaletown took that out last week with Prompt Prodigy and Young Werther. Blinkers on first time for that young man. This was a tough one.
Mate, it was. Last 4 winners that have come out of the Trulock. So, Quick Thinker, as you said, last year on the quick backup, won this race after winning the Trulock. And I actually went through and, for interest's sake, looked at Rosehill Guineas performers in this race from the last 4 years. So in 2020, Castelvecchio won the Rosehill Guineas in a cracking run. Went on to run 9th in this. Shadow Hero ran 4th in the Guineas and then 4th in the Derby. 2019, the Autumn Sun won the Rose Hill Guineas. He didn't bother with the Aussie Derby. He's like, no thanks.
Yeah.
But Arrogant ran second in the Rose Hill Guineas, goes on to run 9th in the Derby. The best runner from the Guineas finished 3rd, Super Oasis, finished 4th in the Guineas. So, finished 4th in the Guineas, 3rd in the Derby. Getting my placings mixed up. 2018, D'Argento actually went to the Doncaster after winning the Rose Hill Guineas. Tangled, who ran 2nd in the Guineas, ran 3rd in the Derby. Ace High ran 6th in the Guineas and only missed out by a nostril in the Derby. Great horse, Ace High. And in 2017, Ginger Nuts ran 5th after winning the Rose Hill Guineas. Harper's Choice finished 5th in the Guineas, but then 2nd in the Derby. So read into that what you will, but it doesn't help me with this race because Lions Roar, Skylab, and Montefilia are all great shouts in this race, I think. But I think it just goes to show that, whilst the Rose Hill Guineas hasn't produced a winner of the Aussie Derby in the last few years, they've still had some horses run into the second and third. So
They're on a good
I
race.
think it's still a good form reference.
Yeah. And there's a long tail to this race.
Mm.
And there's some other New Zealand runners, which there always is, which are just impossible to line up.
Yeah.
I think Rocket Spade is one of them who won the New Zealand Derby over the frontman who came over last week and ran near last. And it's just like, okay, that's really hard to marry up there. But so I've kind of, I've excluded the New Zealand horses from the chances. I just found it too hard to assess them. But I've got 3 main chances in the race, and I'm sacking Montefilia because she proved to me last spring that she didn't like coming out to this distance. She just faded out on her run, and I could be completely wrong there. But I think Young Werther is absolutely peaking here. Blinkers on first time. Soft track is a real concern. He's never run on it, and from memory, he's been scratched from it as well. So that's just a genuine query. Lions Roar, can't leave him out. I've always thought he looks like a 2,400 meter horse. I think he'll just get better out to the distance. Randwick, big tick for him as well. And I've got the horse that ran second in the Tulloch last week. Prompt Prodigy at $51. He ran out of his skin.
Yeah, ran on. There wasn't a lot that ran on last week. And yeah, $50 I think he is at the moment.
Yeah.
Yeah, mate, yeah. Not a bad shout at all.
I'm between Lions Roar and Young Werther as my on top selections. Young Werther, I think he just needs a ton of work in him now. That was his 4th run back last week, but that's by far his best. And I think he is a genuine stayer. Danny O'Brien's been really patient with him, and I think he could be peaking here.
Yeah. Young Werther isn't all up there. Like, he doesn't have everything going on in his brain yet. He's just... Yeah, he's a bit all over the shop in that run last week. He took a while to actually get going because he was pulling his head everywhere. But once he did, he ran on.
And horses that are like that are a bit of a nutcase. Sir Dragonet, perfect example. Quick backup. It could do them the world of good.
Blinkers on.
Yep. Sharpen him up. I think it could just be what the doctor ordered. So... I think my gut's saying Young Werther. My heart is saying Lions Roar, so I'm really confused. But I reckon you've got one here that also came out of the Tulloch, or out of the Rose Hill Guineas, sorry.
Oh, look, yeah, I had a really tough time telling myself to stick with the Tulloch form because I think Skylab and Lions Roar are really good chances in this race. I'm sacking Montefilia as well, which is funny. She'll probably win now.
She will absolutely trot in.
To be honest, mate, the rewatching the Guineas, Moanga took a long time to win that. Not a lot of horses probably could have won from where he was in the race, but I was watching Lions Roar the whole time as I was the other week, and if he gets clear, he wins that race. Or if if he's in the same position that Skylab or Mo'unga was in, I think he wins that race. So I think he's in with a real chance, but I don't think they were going super quick in that Rosehill Guineas. So I've just told myself to leave that form and look at the two-lock. Yeah, I think Young Werther's a really great shout. I didn't have him on top because of the softer track, but I think he's a real danger. I'm going to stick with the winner of the two-lock last week, Yaletown. He doesn't have any proven soft form either, but he's a Vancouver horse, and Vancouver could get through the wetter tracks. Timmy Clark, the jockey, loves riding a leader. This guy gets an easy as lead in this race. So should be able to set the pace. If it's sluggish in the first sort of 1,200 metres, like I think it might be, he can just take a seat and then
head on the chest.
Yeah, and be strong enough to run home really well. Gay Waterhouse has never won this race. Out of all the Group 1s, she's won. She's never won this one. So it'll be her first time, but I think Timmy Clark's a big tick. We'll get out to an easy lead and hoping he can be strong enough to hold them off. So, yeah, going for the 5th two-lock winner in a row to go on to win the Derby. Geez, that'd be insane. But I've got Yaletown on top. Yeah, Lions Raw, I think, is a real chance. And Skylab running into 3rd. But I do think Young Werther is a great tip, mate. A really good tip.
Really, yeah, I'm all over that Quinella. I just don't know who I've got on top at this stage. Lions Raw or Young Werther. And yeah, Prom Prodigy into 3rd.
Mate, it's a good shout.
That is going to pay anything. Okay, TJ, here we go. 1,200 metres, wait for age. The sprint of the autumn, I would say.
This is a cracking race, mate. Cracking.
It is.
The cracking stakes.
It is, and Hawkbury on Her has been scratched today. So Jamie Carr doesn't have the chance to turn around that girl. So 10 runners now. Yeah, Bivouac, NS, Eduardo Zutori, Masked Crusader, Dirty Work, Order of Command, 11-11, Libertini, and September Run, the only 3-year-old in the field. It is a belter.
Isn't it just?
Where do you start?
I don't know.
Eduardo versus Nature Strip, I reckon. That's where you start.
Yeah. Eduardo won their last battle. Had to run a track record
which
to
Nature
do it.
Strip did as well.
Yeah. And Nature Strip's first up running the Lightning, awesome. And then breaks the track record second up. Tells me he's in good shape this prep. With TJ Smith obviously being the ultimate goal. So I think he's going absolutely super this prep. Does that mean you can back him? Who knows? What Nature Strip we going to get on the weekend, mate?
A better one. I think he's definitely featuring in the finish here. If I was a lay better, I would be all over laying Eduardo. He's probably the lay bet of the weekend for mine.
Yeah, I don't have him. But talk to me why he's such a lay bet. I don't think he wins, but I think he's in with a chance.
I don't think he's a 1,200 metre horse. I think he's a 1,000, 1,100 metre horse. Nature Strip has also drawn inside him, and whenever that has happened in the race together, Nature Strip has beaten him home.
Okay.
So I think he's going to get challenged for the lead, and he's going to be hung out to dry, and he's not going to find the fence like he has both runs this prep. And I think that's going to be telling for him. Nash
always rides him.
Always rides him, and he's suspended. So you have, Brendan Abdullah, good rider, but he's not Nash. So I think he's a bit of a finicky horse, and I think he needs everything to go right. So I'm happy to risk him. I've got this race between 3 runners. I've got it between Biv, Nature Strip, and Masked Crusader. At the price, Masked Crusader is a cracking bet.
Cracking bet, mate.
In this race.
I've got the same 3 horses, and I cannot pick a winner out of the 3 of them, mate.
All right. So let's go through the list then, and let's just have a quick comment on each. Bivouac, he can win.
He can win. If he runs at his best, he can win. And he's always, when it's been his grand final, he's always won.
Yeah. Yeah.
Barring the Everest, maybe.
Yeah, I'd say that. But he came out and then won the Darley.
Yeah.
Which was his 3rd up run last year, and he won that by 3.5 lengths. He's been dominant third up. So I think he's, from what I've seen of him this prep, I can't tip him on top because he's getting a bit cultish. I think he's just like he was banging his head around. That's why they got Bossy off, and he ran a hell of a race still there.
Yeah,
but I don't know. That's the first time I've ever seen him do that.
Yeah, James Cummings yesterday I was reading said he's going absolutely super and he's such a gentleman and this and that. And James Cummings says that about pretty much all his horses that are running in Group 1s.
Yeah.
But, yeah, if Biv turns up and is relaxed, he blitzes them.
He's better than these. Like, all respect. But, yeah, he's definitely in the game. Nature Strip, look, he won this race by 3 lengths last year. That was probably his career highlight. He absolutely blitzed him. Cut out of the ground is huge, and that's something I forgot about Biv. He likes it rock hard. He's I'm thinking back to the Coolmore when it was super, super wet. He didn't like it. He didn't travel as well as Exceedance in that race. So I think a soft 6 is okay for him, but I think he's shown his better form at the elite level on top of the ground. Nature Strip, he'll benefit a lot from having the cut in the ground, I think. And I don't mind the draw. I think there's not too much speed around him, so I think he can just get out into his work and work
I think
into it.
I think it's a blessing for him that Horbury on her was scratched for that very reason because right inside him she'd be fighting for the lead as well. So
yeah, absolutely. So Nature Strip can win. Eduardo can't for mine. Reasons outlined, distance, and I just don't think he's at the very, very top of our sprinters. Cut out of the ground does help for him. Does help him though.
Yeah. Like you said, mate, it might not seem like much, but there is a really big difference between 1,000 metres, 1,100 metres, and then 1,200 metres.
Yeah.
The dynamics of the race are different. They just are.
Yeah.
And Eduardo, like you said, just likes to put the speed on and say, who's going to catch me? Whereas I think Nature Strip, whilst he likes to lead, still can find a turn of foot when he needs to.
Yep, absolutely. Zatori, not for mine. I think that was a really low rating Newmarket. And, he beat the horses on the day, but he was in the better part of the track. So I don't think he's got a chance. Masked Crusader, he's my on top selection just purely at the price. I'm going to have a good, decent bet at him. I think this is a changing of the guard race for mine. I do think that he could be one of the best sprinters in Australia after this race, and he'll assert himself here.
Mate, I think I'm going to be with you there. In the Billy Reid, he got a split at like 100 metres or 150 metres from memory, and that speed was insane. Randwick, big tick. Distance, big tick. Softer track, big tick. Sits just off the speed behind your Eduardos and your Nature Strips. If he can stalk them, I think he's got the turn of foot to get over the top of them. And like you said, $7.50, it seems like a bit of a silly price. I guess the question is, who has he beaten this prep?
Libertini,
yeah.
And he was finishing beside, it's a bit of a tough boat to draw, but Sabatiano was flying this prep and Mizzy ran out of her skin in that race and subsequently after. So the form has been franked a bit. But, mate, that first up run on a soft 7 where he absolutely exploded. He didn't beat much there, but that's a Group 1 horse, which he's already proven.
Yeah. And there's always a risk with Nature Strip that he just doesn't turn up on the day. So
100%. Dirty Work, I think he's a bit of a 1,100 metre horse as well, and he likes being on top of the ground, so I don't think he's got any. Order of Command, interesting. I think he's a Group 3 horse, but he's been running really well this prep. So, look, he could sneak into the top 4 at a huge price, but I'm happy to risk him.
I am too. He had 53.5 kegs on his back last start.
Wait for ages and his.
Yeah, no.
Yeah, 11-11. Far out. Interesting. He's probably the lack of quality in the race to be nice. But he was the runner who ran behind Alligator Blood in that Magic Millions race and then got elevated after Alligator Blood got disqualified. So, that's not bad form, but not in this, I don't think.
No thanks. And Libertini for mine. When she's on, but she likes to have a good firm track.
She likes to feel her bones rattle, man.
Yes.
And, not much more to add there. September Ryan can run a good. She can run a good race here. She might be a Melbourne filly. Looking at her profile, does not go well the Sydney way of going.
She doesn't, and she's only 3, so she might mature into a horse who's able to do that. I think as she gets older, I think the Randwick racetrack will suit her. I just can't have her as a 3-year-old filly in this race. Getting over the top of Nature Strip, Biv, and Masked Crusader, not yet.
Yeah, no, agreed. So I've got Masked Crusader on top, Nature Strip running into second, and Bivouac into third.
I have the same, mate. Although, just depending on how the day plays out, I might chuck NS on top instead of Masked Crusader.
Yeah, no, agreed. On to the Donny. Crikey. Let's try and get through this one. There's 20 runners with Wheelhouse as an emergency, but doubt he will get a run here. But holy smokes. Always a tough race to get through, the Donny.
Yeah. Really interesting race because it's obviously handicapped. But looking through the history of it this week, seems as if the good horses, even if they are carrying weight, will come through.
Happy Clapper. And Sacred Falls won it twice in a row.
For Chris Waller, yeah.
Yeah. Winks has won it previously and Brutal with a lightweight a couple of years ago, and Natoya last year, who, look, she's not the worst 100-to-1 shot I've seen. I reckon she's going just as well as she did last year, and she has half a kilo less than she did last year. So if you like Natoya, there's a tick for you. But look, I've changed my tips here because of the track. If it was a good track, I was all over I Am Superman at a huge price, because you look at his form profile, he beat Think It Over last start, and he loves a good firm track as well. Drawn really nicely to just get a good run, but he just doesn't go that well on a soft deck.
52 kegs on his back.
Yeah, absolutely. So I've just gone back to my old mate, Mugatoo. He's the favourite, but deserved favourite. He beat an absolutely elite field in the All-Star Mile. And that form has been somewhat franked with Graceful Glamour coming out, and she ran last and she finished a nice second last week. Still a Star came out and ran well in Melbourne. And I think there's been some others as well who've been running nicely since that race. So we'll start from the top, go down. Mugatoo, soft deck, drawn perfectly. I've looked through his profile. He does not draw a bad barrier, Mugatoo.
Yeah, one of those horses. Yeah.
One of a Red Cell type.
Yeah, Red Cell always drew like 2 or 3.
It was unbelievable. And when he was at Flemington, he drew the outside. Yeah, the Snowden's just paying him off. But obviously a joke. Mugatoo, I think he's right in the game.
100%. Chris Lee's obviously always had an eye on the Doncaster as well as the All-Star Mile. Kept him relatively fresh for this. Draws perfectly. I think 56 kegs is still treating him rather kindly at the weights. Barring incredibly bad luck, I think he's a really good chance to win this race.
Yeah.
Huey Bowman's ridden him enough now.
Bowman's in great form.
And he's in great form. So, I think he's incredibly tough to beat on a soft 6 or soft 7, which I think we'll get. Absolutely.
Big A, Avilius, 56 kilos. He hasn't had a weight that low since he ran in the Melbourne Cup. He was carrying more weight in the Melbourne Cup that year. So it was before that. That was like 2018 or 19 or something. So he won't know himself with this weight.
He won't.
But relative weights, he's still carrying a shitload. So
agreed.
and he hasn't won in 80 weeks. So cut out of the ground suits. I think they're training him like a miler now, which is a big tick for him. But yeah, I'm happy to risk him.
Yeah, so am I.
Yeah, sum it out, $81.
No
Look,
thanks.
Yeah, don't think so.
Sorry, Bjorn. He's been having fun down at the Easter sales, hasn't he?
Hasn't he? One of the greats. Star of the Seas. What do you do with this boy?
Didn't go too badly in this race last year. Hasn't shown this prep except for first up the same sort of form, but the George Ryder Stakes tends to produce a fair few winners of this race. Look, he's dropped a bit of weight, about 5 kegs, I think. Draws well. Look, he could run a race. He's not the worst $30 thing I've seen.
Yeah, agreed. I think he can run top 4, Star of the Seas. Olmedo, look, I think he's first up for Annabelle Neesham. I found it really tough to dissect his form, but yeah, couldn't really find him in this at 126s. Shout the Bar, far out. What do you do with this girl? Ran a horrible race in the All-Star Mile.
Terrible.
But she was 2 out of 5 lane prior to the race. Timmy Clark gets the ride. She's drawn out, but that she can just get into a workout from wide. She wouldn't absolutely shock me if she win this, but I'm seeking others.
Yeah, agreed, mate. Agreed with you there.
You can take the honours with the next one, Zaki.
Yeah, don't know much about this horse, to be honest.
It's an import.
But yeah, first start in Australia. No thanks. Looking elsewhere.
Yeah, 126s. No thanks. Aegon, far out. The $2.60 favourite in the Randwick Guineas gets back to a soft deck here, which is the biggest tick that you'll see. But he's probably one of the worst weighted horses in this race as a 3-year-old. With 53 kilos.
Yeah, I agree with you, mate. If he had 49.5 like Mwanga on his back, then I'd entertain him. Draws really well. Yeah, soft deck is a big tick. He's won twice at the distance before, but yeah, no, I'm happy to risk him. Yeah.
What about your old mate Cascadian with old Jamie Carr on board first time?
That's a big tick. That really is a big tick. Stormed home in the George Ryder. He draws a good barrier here as well, which is a big tick for him. If Jamie Carr can be positive, he might be in a better position to storm home. But yeah, he's just a non-winner, unfortunately for Cascadian. However, I did back him. Was it on this day last year?
It was in the in the Doncaster prelude last year.
That's right. Yeah. So look, he could turn up. I think the $19 is about fair for Cascadian.
You need a price to back him.
Yeah, you need a price to back him. I wouldn't be surprised if, like a J-Mac or something chucked him in the quaddie.
Of course he will.
It wouldn't surprise me at all. It wouldn't surprise me if he wins because he's come back pretty well this prep. But yeah, I'm happy to risk him. But there are a fair few ticks there. He hasn't won in a year though.
Yeah, that is a concern. Another horse that hasn't won in almost a year is Dalasann. Strange prep. Newmarket first up into the George Ryder, where I couldn't even remember him running in that race. Look, he's a talented horse, and $51 is probably overs, to be honest, but he's got no third up form. Yeah, I don't think this is his distance. Yeah, really tough to assess him.
Yeah, it is. Yeah, I think he's going to need to improve pretty significantly to win this race.
Yeah. Think it over. Are you jumping on this week?
Look, I think it's going to run a cracking race. It's come back in some awesome form this prep. Hasn't won at the distance before, but has 3 seconds and a third. Likes racing at Randwick. Bossy in this race is a huge tick. 52.5 kegs on its back. So drops 6.5 kilos from its last race. 18 is a bit of a tricky barrier, but we know what Bossy's like, and Bossy will get him into a positive position. Yeah, definitely not the worst shout in this race. So I think he's in with a live chance, mate. I wouldn't be surprised if he is right in the finish.
Second highest rated horse in this race, behind Mugatoo. It's crazy. Yeah, I'm happy to risk him. He's not one of mine. Let's put it that way. Oh, God.
No fun.
Of course, she's number 13, Fun Star, with Craig Williams on the back. Blinkers on first time at start number 17. What the hell do you do with Fun Star?
Oh, man. You put the blinkers on and hope for the best, according to Chris Waller. Look, if there's anyone who can turn her form around, it's Chris Waller. Yeah, she's capable, I think, of improving here. I think she's capable of winning a race like this, but we've been saying that about her for a long time. And yeah, I think there's just others who are going to be on a better race.
I think she's just done with racing, but might have egg on my face, but so be it.
Yeah.
Best of days, Bod. Far out. Retire already. $34. Rachel King on board. I think he likes being on top of the ground. Coming from the Australia Cup, that's just a weird lead in.
Yeah, well, it's funny. I think reading this week, there's a fair few horses that have dropped from the bigger distance to come into this race and actually done quite well. He won't know himself with 52.5 kegs on his back, but it'd have to be a special ride from barrier 15. Look, I think the $34 is probably about right for him. I think he could feature in the first four, but no thanks.
It's the Waller theory, 2,000 metres down to the mile. He's won 2 or 3 Doncasters using that theory. So it obviously works. Iron Superman, as I touched on, super keen on him, but only if it was a rock hard track. So happy to risk him now.
Yep.
Rock, he needs a hard track too. And he was quite good last week in the Doncaster Prelude. Blinkers on first time, so that might sharpen him up. But I just think, I don't know, I think he's had his chance, to be honest.
Yeah, I think if it was a good track, he'd be in with a chance. Happy to risk him on this track.
Yeah. Natoya, look, I've seen worse 100-1 pops, as I said. Oh, yeah. Maybe a chucker in your first four, maybe.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Just have a bit of a laugh, you know?
Yeah. Yow Dash. This horse is levitating.
Yeah. Been up for a while. So, yeah, don't know if he'd be able to carry any more than 50.5 kegs. He's been up for that long. Look, he'll be rock hard fit. He was good last week in the Doncaster preload. There was obviously a big leader bias last week, but I still think he ran really well. Been going well this prep. He just hasn't run at the distance as of yet. And I think he gets a nice lead here, but I just think there'll be others who'll be too good for him.
Way too good for him. He's by far the biggest unders in the race.
$12 is a silly price for him.
Yeah, no thanks. Moanga, synthetic hoof filler first time, same as Aegon. So read into that what you will. But 49.5 kilos with cousin Robbie Dolan on board.
Yeah, cousin Robbie's about half the weight of his cousin Matt.
Yeah. Hey, there's other circumstances there, all right?
It sure is.
But really impressive Rosehill Guineas winner over the 2,000. He showed an elite turn of foot over the Randwick Guineas just to miss with Lions Raw. I'm happy to risk him. He's drawn barrier 21.
Oh,
far out.
Unlucky.
Yeah, so I know you're with him.
No. Based on what I was saying before from the Australian Derby, that win that he had in the Rosehill Guineas, I don't think they were absolutely flying there. It was a grinding win. But like you said, in the Randwick Guineas, he showed an elite turn of foot. I just think he'll need a lot to go right for him, for cousin Robbie to get him home from barrier 21. I'm happy to risk.
This stinks of an afterthought. Reeks of it. Forbidden Love, Group 1 winner this prep in the Surround Stakes. Cutting the ground will be a big tick. Dean Yendall on board. He's an absolutely elite lightweight jockey. Barrier 13 is probably not a bad barrier draw. Freedman Stable is absolutely flying. Give her a hope.
Ask me how I feel about lightly weighted fillies.
Oh, how do you feel about lightly
I
weighted
love
fillies?
lightly weighted fillies. I think she's in with a red hot crack in this, mate. Completely forget the Coolmore Classic run on a good 3. She didn't like that.
No.
And Crone was way too good.
Yeah, of course she was.
But no, look, if she can recreate her form from the Surround Stakes where she just blitzed them with the 49.5 kegs on the back, whew, Barrier 13, quick look at the speed map. She'll sit just behind the leaders, Semadou and Yo Dash. So she'll get every chance to come across, find a good position. Mate, I reckon she's a really good bet in this race. I think the $19 is a silly price, to be completely honest.
Looks like she's on the drift.
Has to be in your numbers.
Yeah.
Has to.
She's not, but big query for mine is the 1600.
Yeah. She's only raced the distance once or twice from memory.
Once,
and she ran third. So, look, I think she can run out the 1,600 metres, especially with that weight on her back. Yeah, I like her in this.
Yeah, no, fair enough. Good case. Ice Bath gets a run now that Gem's Song has been scratched. Look, I think she's just below this class.
Yeah, she'll enjoy the deck. You know what's funny? She's actually out of Sacred Falls.
Oh, yeah?
Which is pretty interesting. I think she could run a good race, but yeah, no, she's a little bit of a non-winner. Happy to risk.
Okay, so no hiding who you've got on top, but what are your numbers?
Mate, well, I actually have Mugger 2 on top.
Okay.
I know I made a big case for Forbidden Love because I think she's a good bet at that price. But I just think Mugger 2, there's no what's the knock on him? He's drawn a good barrier. He's well weighted. He was unreal in the All-Star Mile. I can't find a serious knock on him.
I think people are saying that he might want further, which might be the case, but I don't know. I don't see an absolutely elite miler in this field. I really don't. I think he's the best miler in this field based on that last start.
Yeah, I can't go past him in this. But I do really like Forbidden Love, so I've got her running in second. And, yeah, no knock on Think It Over either, especially with that big weight drop. I think he'll be right in the finish.
Yeah, no, fair enough. I've got Mugger 2 on top. Aegon running into second. I think he's probably one of the biggest improvers. And I've got Cascadian running into third.
Of course he'll flash home for third.
So, yeah, he's a different horse. Okay. Juicy stakes time. Do a quick recap before we get in to our charity bet for Corbo's sister. Value play of the day last week?
Well, I had Nicky Jack Cave, and that was before I changed to Toffee Tongue. So he ran on but didn't finish in the placings.
Okay. Well, Sydney Cup's probably his grand final anyway.
I think so.
Batego ran third and Mr. Seawolf crushed my soul beating him home by nostril. I had an exacta going there and it was, would have been nice. Each way?
Sabadar ran on but didn't finish in the placings.
Well,
it was massive leader bias on the weekend, mate, and that just didn't suit him at all.
No. I have egg on my face for the next two. Mirage Dancer, holy shit, was he average.
What happened to him? Did he get hit in that race?
I don't think
Clip his heels or something?
Maybe.
It was weird.
It was too bad to be true, but he's backed up this weekend and blinkers on first time at about start 25. That's reaching for mine. And your best?
I had Crone, and she ran on but didn't finish in the placings. Again, I don't think the track suited her, so a bit of egg on my face there, but...
you can't help track bias.
It is what it is.
This horse had every frickin' chance and did nothing, Master of Wine. Absolute life, never again.
Never again, no. It was funny. It was funny seeing Shared Ambition lead the whole time.
Maybe that's just how you should ride him.
Yeah.
I don't know.
No, never again for Master of Wine.
Yeah.
Watch him pop up in a Group 1 next year and win it at $40.
Yeah, absolutely. Okay. So, Like we did last week, charity bets for the rest of the season are for Corbo and his sister, who's fighting cancer at the moment. So if you want to donate, guys, if you want to get involved, hit our link in bio on Instagram, and we'll be tweeting it out as well. And then we'll put it in the show notes as well of the podcast if you're listening. So every dollar helps. So if you can do that, that would be amazing. But value play of the day.
Yeah, well, as we spoke about earlier on the pod in the Aussie Derby, I think Yaletown's about $17 at the moment. I think he's a good bet. The two-lock strategy coming through. We'll get a really easy lead, hoping that it's a bit sluggish early on pace and he can cruise home.
Yep, fair. $9.50, so I'm right on the borderline, but I'm taking on Animo. So I think that's a value play there with Lightsaber. Race 6, number 3, Lightsaber. I think he's a cracking bet.
He's a good bet.
$9.50.
Good bet at that price, mate.
100% each way.
Masked Crusader. I think Masked Crusader at that price is a good bet too.
Same. So who's your best of the day?
Not in one of the Group 1s, but in race 2, the Irishman.
Oh, no.
Oh, no. Are you taking me on?
Yeah. What are we going to do now?
I don't know. Well, seeing as we're probably both going to be on Mugatoo, we could have Mugatoo as one, but...
Oh, yeah. I reckon we go to our each way.
Yeah, let's do that. Like place bet for our each way?
Yep.
Let's do that.
Yeah. All right. Tell me your case for the Irishman.
Oh, look, I really like the Irishman through the Hungry Heart form from the Fire Lap Stakes. Soft track's not going to be an issue here. Draws well. Yeah, I think the Irishman's a good bet.
I've got the Wallace special here, Wheelhouse. Yeah. 2,000 down to 1,600. Bowman on board. I hope Huey has an absolute field day for me tomorrow on Saturday. So... yeah, I've been really impressed by this horse, this prep. He's kind of gone through the grades really rapidly, but I think he's a quality galloper. So
yeah, well, he's been there or thereabouts this prep, and a fair few horses from races he's run well in have gone on 2 wins. So yeah, that was a key danger for mine. But I think the Irishman will be too good.
Yeah, well,
we could do a Quinella.
Oh.
We'll think about it, eh?
Nah, let's do that. Let's risk it all.
Risk it all, yeah.
Yeah, let's do that. This could be the biggest collect ever. Alrighty. Mate, I'm looking forward to it.
Yeah, I really am too. I think there's a bit of value on the weekend. I think if we win the quaddie, which we will, thanks to Brad and Dolab's good juju earlier today for
encouragement.
Great encouragement.
Yeah.
I think it'll be a juicy quaddie, so I'm really keen to play.
Yeah, same. Championship's best time of the year.
Oh, yeah.
Apart from Derby Day. So we both need to lift, but I reckon we can.
Oh, of course we will.
Yeah, of course. Alrighty, punters. All the best. We'll see you next week.
Have fun, punters.